from? I think we've seen one side of the country to the other today easily. Haven't seen Hawaii, and I don't know if we've seen people outside off the continent yet. I think we've seen one side of the country. There we go. Hit that, turn that off, and there we go. And I'm coming back here. All right. Here we go. So everybody, welcome to the second to the last. This is really the last session of the actual event until our chill section and our Black AI Awards event tonight. But thank you for being here. It's the Black AI Literacy Day, sponsored by Black AI Think Tank. Just to let you know, we've been going for a while, sort of moved a big group from Clubhouse and social media onto LinkedIn. We decided to kind of open up a room so that we could find each other called Black AI Think Tank. Y'all have heard of me say it before, but the first time we just opened the room, 400 people showed up between two platforms. We knew we were onto something. The next meeting, 600 people, just us meeting one another. And if we could probably count the dollar amount of deals and partnerships that went on in these rooms, it's been amazing. We took that on and beefed it up. Instead of just 2 hours on a Thursday night, we launched the first ever National Black AI Literacy Week. And, we had almost 700 people sign up for it. And it was extraordinary. And now we're doing those every quarter. So we do one day a quarter, and our next big event will be in June. Patty likes to remind us that, y'all, that thing went so well the first time that Robert Smith, the great billionaire who funded the payoff for 396 young men at Morehouse, he saw it and he wrote about it on his LinkedIn, and that was a very, very big a big thing to happen. That brings us here tonight. We've had incredible speakers all day and a lot of learning. Let me say something. Ella, were you here? Did you make it to every session or almost today? You're off mic, but I know I've seen you here at most of the sessions that we had. But
There
it's,
she is.
huh?
Say something, Ella.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I all but the last one. I
Yeah.
couldn't take it out.
Well, good. I'm glad some people, you need a rest. Everybody does. So we're going to kick it off with a really cool session tonight on where we're going, what we need as leadership. We've had all this stuff all day, and we're going to be led. We're some of the leaders that are going to be leading in this place in so many different areas into the future. And we have Njeri here, Watkins, who I think I met you initially on Clubhouse, possibly. And also we have a special guest, Philip. I think I might know you from Clubhouse for sure. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, lots of rooms. You come up and share about amazing things that you're doing, mentoring these young women and young men. And it's been so inspiring every time we have a thing like this. I love to bring you in the room. We're going to jump right into it. We got the recordings going, and we'll do ladies before gentlemen, and then we'll combine questions and that type of thing. And Jerry, why don't you do an introduction of yourself and we'll launch in it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, Stefan, and so glad to be a part of the National Black AI Day. I actually was at the summit in June and was just enamored with all of the wisdom community that was shared that week. And that was a few weeks before I actually traveled to Antigua for the University of West Indies' first ever AI conference, where they had educators, thought leaders, community builders, business leaders coming together to look at how they could reimagine the Caribbean through leveraging AI. And I spoke at that conference, and it was kind of a little bit of my coming out in that area. And coming off the heels of the summit, I just felt I felt renewed again, and almost like I'd had a whole new rebirth for my career when I got into AI. And I was sharing with Philip earlier today that in 2021, I had completed the data science and machine learning program through MIT during the pandemic. It was a grueling program, but in 12 weeks, under 16 weeks, I learned Python and went all in. And it opened me up to a whole new world. And what AI has allowed me to do is to actually dream again. I've been a solopreneur for over 15 years, and I could not see a way of where I could scale my business as good of work as I've done. I've worked at an academic level as a university instructor, business advisor, a lot of work with various communities. But getting past that ability of trading time for money, right? AI has allowed me to now to execute the vision that I originally had when I wanted to get into business. And I was saying transfers, I didn't get into business to stay alone as a solopreneur the whole time. And I now see a way forward. And taking leadership is something that I've always done from a young age. It's kind of a through line in my career. If I see an opportunity, kind of go for it. Sometimes taking that step, even when you're not ready, is great. And that's how I got here today. And I want to thank Stefan for giving me this opportunity to share and really give back, because you guys have already given me so much. So I want to say thank you. And what I want to do today is twofold. One, I'm hoping to find other peers that I can collaborate with, so continue the conversation after this. But two, I want to share a little bit from my disruption management framework. And this is a framework that I've developed, but going one step further, now the next step is for me to add the AI component so that I can scale and I can do decisioning at a whole new level. And this is what has got me really excited, because now I'm starting to see my dreams come true, and it's allowed for me to have additional engagement with folks moving forward. So I'm going to share my presentation. It's very short, and I am going to leave a few moments at the end for questions, because I'm really hoping to stimulate a conversation and to, most importantly, keep the conversation moving forward, and how we look at things from a AI perspective, specifically in the realm of leadership. Now, many of you have, like Stefan, have taken the charge of just jumping in and moving forward. But as we look at it from leading organizations and what our next steps are, I've kind of broken down things just so that we can have a place of reference for today to look at. And so the topic is AI leadership, leading at the intersection of business, technology, and industry, which I've done that for the past 20 years in various capacities. And so I look at things from a little bit of a different vantage point of always being active in the community, being an educator, being a small business entrepreneur, coaching and supporting small businesses, tech startups, and now larger government agencies and nonprofits. And so the piece of the matter is, in terms of when we look at AI from a leadership perspective, at the end of the day, there is that question of how do we monetize all this, But before that, let's look at maybe some possible objectives that we may want to consider as we're moving forward. And really, it's about asking, what is the true benefits of AI? How do we bridge that technology gap and align it with strategy? How do we look at it from an organizational perspective? And then growth and sustainability. Now, we talk about bridging technology and strategy. This is now moving out of it being a cool tool to now how do we integrate it into the core strategy of an organization, and then looking at it possibly from a revenue generation or a long-term value creation. So now we're looking at it holistically from as they say, the bird's eye view. And the same thing is going back with growth and sustainability. So not looking at it from a short-term perspective of just getting a task done, but how does this align with our long-term vision, our long-term strategic goals, and ultimately, is this sustainable moving forward? And addressing the organizational challenges, this also involves some of the cultural pieces of how do we look at the operational efficiency that's happening from an organizational perspective. And then also decision making. At the end of the day, understanding when the right decision needs to take place, with who needs to be there, and the timing of that is really key. So those are just some objectives that we want to look at moving forward. And then I have a little framework that I call the MEO. And this is what I refer to as the MEO framework of M stands for mitigating risks, E is for enhancing internal controls, O is for optimizing corporate portfolio. And the best way to kind of understand these things, there's a little write-up that you can read there, but I did want to go into some, what I refer to some catalytic questioning, because at the end of the day, it is a tool, but we want to be sure that the AI we're using is actually helping us solve the right problems. So in a nutshell, when we look at mitigating risks, we are talking about your business practices, your ecosystem management, your competitive analysis, and the market segment influences. So some catalytic questions you might want to ask when you're considering that would be, how well does an organization manage its business ecosystem? That involves the customers, the clients, the whole community. These are the kind of questions from a leadership perspective you want AI to support you in answering. The other question may be, how about our business practices? There's a lot of emphasis on ESG these days. So how effective is the organizational business practices in the current marketplace? This is some support that AI can help you while you're looking at it from a leadership perspective. The other thing is competitive analysis. How effective is your organization amongst its competition? Where do you rank in the marketplace? Are you staying relevant? And how adept is your organization in adopting the technological advances that take place? And most importantly, how resilient is your organization with regards to external threats and drivers? So that type of thinking, that type of prompting would be great from a leadership perspective moving forward. And next, we want to go into enhancing internal controls. So when you're enhancing internal controls, that really is about looking at decision-making and innovation and understanding your internal intelligence from the business perspective. I like to actually box this into kind of a 3-point category, what I call the CTO framework, which focuses on cultural, technological, and operationals. One of the great things about this little micro framework is that regardless of who you're talking to in an organization, regardless of their role, if you can bucket the conversation into one of those 3 categories, you can have a very high level conversation or a basic conversation with anybody. So we want to start asking AI these type of questions to get us in that mindset from a leadership perspective. So we might ask from a cultural perspective, how well does your organization handle people management, human resources related issues? How technically adept is the organization, is your organization in navigating and utilizing the robust technologies available to us today? And how would you rate your overall operational efficiency? Just continue to ask these questions. And these are key things around the prompting piece that are going to be very helpful. And then optimizing your corporate portfolio, which at the end of the day is all about the bottom line, from your brand identity to optimizing your overall corporate profile and resource allocation. So asking AI to support you in evaluating how your leadership team actually does align with the strategic goals and decision-making that are the primary objectives of the organization. How does your organization rank with regards to the fluidity of the brand management and the communication strategy, throughout the entire organization? How solid is that? And going one step further around the cultural acuity, how culturally acute is your organization in embracing diverse perspectives? So this is a great little framework to keep you in the loop of what's happening, but at a high level, but also simplified enough that you can have multiple folks across various verticals and areas of your business units join in the conversation. Now, I also would like to give a little bit of a key topics in AI leadership. And as you can see, I like to keep things simple and in little frameworks. And this is one that I've used for many years. And when you're looking at things from a big perspective and having kind of those high level leadership conversations, whether you're starting an organization with an existing organization or trying to turn an organization around, I always think you can come at it from 4 key pillars. The first is the vision, the second is decision, then it's the mission and the position. It's easy to remember and it's all encompassing of the key areas. The vision is the why, of course, and brings about that forward thinking leadership approach, and always being mindful of that key elements of that vision, and the second is the decision, which is the optimized next steps. What are the best decisions that we need to make moving forward? Okay. And the next thing is the mission. This is the how. This is the deployment of the AI strategies from the organizational perspective to ensure alignment with the business objectives. And then the final is the position. Have you positioned the organization for sustainable growth and expansion moving forward? So this is another little framework that you can use as you're thinking from a leadership perspective. And then I just thought I would add a few key topics that might be great for you to think on your own, have conversations around that are really pertinent today and with many organizations, which is, understanding the difference between a short-term win and a long-term sustainable win. Sometimes deploying tools and strategies work for the short term, but is it sustainable? When there's a larger organization, when there's a larger community, when there's multiple people affected by the actions. This could be on a nonprofit, this could be in a social enterprise, but thinking about those and having a round table around these type of discussions and getting multiple perspectives. And with regards to mergers and acquisitions, this could be from a strategic partnership with community groups all the way to acquiring businesses. What are some of the key considerations that you may need to look at, with regards to supporting in the decision making? This is where AI can help you and your team support moving forward, and then engaging the right stakeholders. A lot of times it's not only the right decision that has to be made at the right time, but it's having the right people around the table. So all the perspectives are considered and no one is left behind. And the conversation around, the development of AI, we are moving the needle. And I say specifically organizations like the Black AI think tank are addressing that, making sure that folks are at the table and are key decision makers and stakeholders moving forward, which is really excited. And I just feel honored and privileged to be a part of this time in history that's taking place. And also moving forward with a community centered innovation process. I think customer is king and queen, community members are king and queen. And moving forward, we have so many platforms and so many ways to engage our audience communities that it is all about all hands on deck. And we're going to move this forward collectively. And I have a firm philosophy that 2024 and beyond, shared leadership models are the way to go. And AI is also going to have a seat at the table in that. So I want to thank you all so much. And I would love to engage in any questions or any points, anybody who just like to add on. Oh, hold on. Add on to any points, please share. Can you hear me? All right.
We can. Jared wrote in here, nice presentation. Extremely well put together, and love that gamma.
Yes.
Yeah, it does things very well. We talked about that today. Somebody else was coming off mic. Who was that?
This is my first Gamma presentation, by the way.
How long did it take you?
Less than 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we taught that in a group today. It's an eye opener. That is AI working in conjunction,
Mhm.
this synergetic sort of symbiosis of people and AI, the
Yes.
human and the tool. Yeah.
And I used to spend a lot of time preparing the presentation, but I rather put more time into the presentation in terms of the content, because these are frameworks and things I already have, and I want to workshop that versus putting all of it into design. So the design piece took 30 minutes, which I might have spent a lot more time in the past on PowerPoint. So I'm excited where we're going. Thank you so much. Appreciate the feedback.
Hey, can I ask a question, Stefan?
Yeah, go for it.
This is Jared. Yeah, I thought this is an amazing presentation. I love how it was put together. It was delivered
Thank
perfectly. It's amazing how that you can put that together in such a small amount of time, and you obviously know what you obviously know what you're talking about. Is it easy to transition between allowing it to? I'm assuming you have certain prompts you put in, whether it's colors, whether it's organization, format, and then to be able to deliver it with like your own personal touch. And it seems like it's seamless.
Yeah, well, all the content is my own. I did not get any edits, so I wrote the content. The only thing that Gamma did was it put in the image and the layout, the images and the layout.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
there was
That's
very
perfect.
little editing. I think I just edited the title just so that it went a little more aesthetically pleasing on the screen. But yeah, for this time, this go only because I want to be able to speak to my content if things change. I didn't want to go, I like kind of going off book and talking about it. So yeah. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So this is we're in the zone of leadership, and that was just really, really well put together. And I want you to know that Dr. Philip Eaglin is here tonight because I've seen him so many times just fill this gap that we need to have people, we need to have Black people, we need to have Black men in leading this next generation. And he's doing some really great things that you'll hear about. And it's such a dynamic power with both of y'all being here. Philip, are you ready? Patty, are you seeing him on the screen?
Yes, he's on the screen. I know he was having trouble with there he is.
Thank you so much, Stefan, for having me tonight, and Najiri. It was great talking to you today. I have a little technical issue, so I've asked Stefan to navigate the slides for me, and we'll get through the slides. As you can see, I'm presenting about changing expectations, a nonprofit in Austin, Texas, and our work to advance AI literacy for Black students in high school and at HBCUs. And the title of the slides represent the HBCU in Austin, Houston, Tillotson University. We're partnering with local high school students from predominantly Black churches to develop AI voice chatbots for social justice. And as Stefan says, I go way back to the early days of Clubhouse. Inspired by Stefan, he came presented to a group of computer science educators over a year ago. I'm part of the CSTA Black Affinity Group of computer science educators, and they learned for the first time, many of them, about the metaverse from Stefan. So I do appreciate all of your work, Stefan, keeping us on the cutting edge.
Well, I
And
love
with
it.
that, I'm gonna the slides.
Can you see it?
Yes, there they are.
Okay.
All right, so I told Najiri earlier today, I don't really like to talk about the whole 35 years. So Stefan, these are all the Black jobs I've had in 35 years, including
all the Black jobs.
yes, including a high school physics teacher, as you can see, starting way back in 1990, physics, chemistry, earth science, physical science. And as a Black male, that was that was a unique position because I never had a Black male physics teacher, and I became one. So I told a group recently, many times we have to be the first for ourselves. And that's what I've done all these years, many times, be the first in STEM and computer science, and now AI education, leading a National Science Foundation project called CS for All Research Practitioner Partnership on broadening participation of Black students in computing and artificial intelligence. And I started that project in 2019. So this is our 6th year working on designing AI voice chatbots for social justice as a way to increase the interest and engagement of Black students in computing, specifically in AI education. And so I do that work through a nonprofit, Changing Expectations. I founded 13 years ago to focus on providing STEM, computer science for Black and Hispanic students and their teachers. And prior to that, I had spent 21 years in public education, both as teacher, professional development provider for the U.S. Department of Education, and educator preparation specialist for the Texas Education Agency. And so you'll see some of the highlights of my 35 years in the slides that I'll share with you today. And so the next slide is about the nonprofit mission. And as I may have indicated, it's to provide the highest impact STEM, tech, computing workforce development programs to inspire underserved and underrepresented youth and adults to pursue STEM, tech, and computing careers. And so that's a mouthful. As I indicated, it's really focused on creating opportunities, teaching and learning opportunities that too many times Black and brown kids do not get in school as it relates to STEM, computer science, and now AI. And so our current work is around the following inclusive artificial intelligence literacy education goals. And as we know, there's something called a digital divide that affects so many people in our community, and many are predicting will become even greater because of this new technology called artificial intelligence. It's not really new, as we know. It's been around since the 50s. However, this new technology we call generative AI, many predict will cause an even further divide between the haves and the have-nots. So I'm hoping that in the few years I have left, Stefan, in my career, that it can do part to advance inclusive AI education for those learners who are underserved, who can use those skills for the 21st century in education and work to increase diversity among AI users, managers, and developers, and provide literacy around AI that addresses culturally relevant issues. And so that's the current focus of the projects that I'm working on and Changing Expectations. And with that, I'll tell you about the next slide. It was in 2019, as I indicated, I received the National Science Foundation project. It was the second one on which I served as principal investigator, and its focus, as I indicated, was to design AI voice chatbots to address social justice issues. That was actually one focus of the project. It was really also about broadening participation of Black and Hispanic students with disabilities in computing. And in that project, we did research and development to understand problems of practice that hinder access to computing, or in other words, what our schools and education system is not doing well to support the participation of Black and Hispanic students with disabilities. So of course, there are many educators who would prefer to describe the problem. And at the same time, I said, we needed to also create some solutions for Black and brown kids. And that's how the idea came about during that project, to focus on creating a curriculum to use AI to broaden the participation of those students in computing. And so there's the link. If you want to go to that bit.ly, you're welcome to go to it. It's a greater description of the course, Youth Creating AI Voice Chatbots for Social Justice. And Stefan has a copy of these slides. I hope he will be able to share with everyone. But some of the highlights of that curriculum we developed are right there on the screen. In 2019, IBM, we partnered with them in Austin to use a tool called Watson. I'm sure you've heard of it, to create voice chatbots. Actually, we created chatbots and we designed a web app to interact with those chatbots on Watson using natural language. Our original intent in the NSF project was to focus on using voice user interface, or VUI, project-based learning. And at that time, we had no real understanding of the future of AI and focused on really using voice as a way to engage students with disabilities with IBM Watson. And so the students and teachers in the NSF project had the opportunity to earn a digital badge from IBM, or as they call it, a micro-credential. Later in our NSF project, IBM actually created a course called Build Your Own Chatbot, which now exists in a platform called SkillBuild. And about midway in our NSF project, we started using that course to help the students and teachers understand how to use Watson to design chatbots. And so as you see in the first bullet there, our goal is to, of course, extend beyond traditional AI into using generative AI tools like ChatGPT and Copilot from Microsoft and others to create generative AI voice chatbots for social justice. And that is a goal of our current project, which I'll tell you about shortly. The second item there you see is about centering the voices of those who are most impacted in our community, of our community by AI. And so we used the idea that collecting data would be a way we could ensure that our history, lived experiences, and cultures are used to address the social justice issue around which we designed the AI voice chatbot. And so we built a technique for the students to use ChatGPT now to come up with some survey questions to find and collect data around the topic anti-Black police violence and brutality, and in turn use that data to create conversational dialogues on Watson, and in turn create an AI chatbot that connects to a voice web app. And that really comes from a process we call Design Justice out of MIT, where it's a process in AI development that challenges rather than reproduce structural inequalities. And some of you may know of the work of Joy Buolamwini. She's spoken of the idea of participatory design as an approach to address issues of AI ethics and bias. And so our effort to integrate this process of design justice allowed us to move more in that direction of participatory design. And then the last item, certainly we want to make sure our community is not left behind in the world of AI development, because too many times in my 35 years, there's been focused on preparing us to just be consumers and users of technology and not developers. And certainly this project focuses on creating developers of AI and then helping us construct knowledge and skills that can help us succeed in the 21st century. And so as I told Najiri, I'm often asked about, some people will say they have fears of AI. And so I'm trying more and more to figure out a way to help, especially the Black community, understand that yes, there are fears, reasons to be fearful. There are risks and biases, including racial bias that impacts Black people. However, there are also benefits of AI. And so we can learn to navigate both of them and wrap our minds around achieving the benefits as well as navigating the risk. And so with that, we this past year created the very first cohort of Black girls in the Black Girls in AI Coding Makerspace. We had 14 Black female students designing AI voice chatbots for social justice this past year. And as you can see on the right-hand side, some of the dates that we met starting back last June and July virtually. We had a number of face-to-face meetings ending up this past April with an AI for Social Justice Community Showcase there at the Carver Library in East Austin. And there you see the topic was anti-Black police violence and brutality. And those young ladies worked in teams of 3 to 4 students to not only learn how to design this chatbot, but also other topics like machine learning, natural language processing, through a course that we created. And so on the next slide is one of those highlights I mentioned of my 35 years. There's the photo of me and those 10 of the 14 young ladies there in April at the Carver Library in East Austin in what we call the Changing Expectations Black Girls in AI Coding Makerspace. 3 of those young ladies are sisters, all military, children of military family. And so that's another population I think that more attention needs to be paid to when we think about students who are being underserved. None of these young ladies had the chance to learn how to develop AI in their schools, and I would predict will never have the chance before they graduate from high school. And so creating the opportunity for them to have this experience is, I think, something that we need to do more of. And so I wanted to share a short video clip of a demonstration. If we can get it to load on Stefan's screen, you will hear one of the AI voice chatbots for social justice.
My name is Clarissa. I am a chatbot that educates people on police brutality.
Hi, Clarissa.
Hi, what's up?
What is police brutality?
Police brutality refers to law enforcement officers' unjustifiable use of physical or verbal aggression, particularly towards individuals of color. This treatment constitutes a violation of their civil rights and an abuse of power.
How do we stop it?
There are various measures we can take to help prevent police brutality. For instance, setting up a civilian watch group to oversee the police department is one option. Additionally, it's essential to hold those responsible for their actions. We can keep officers accountable by allowing victims or their loved ones the ability to bring civil suits against the officer, suspending officers without pay, and prohibiting officers from retiring during an investigation. Officers must wear body cameras 24/7, which should be mandatory and always on. Officers are held to a higher standard because they know the law and should face stricter punishments than civilians.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
See you later. I hope I have provided you with sufficient information.
So
And
Philip, that's young 14-year-old Black girls
yes,
creating a program, an app using AI to set it straight to police officers about laws and restrictions and what they need to be doing, right?
yes, and not only for police officers, but for the Black community. They were asked to interview Black family, friends, and community members about issues they wanted to be addressed by the AI voice chatbot, and also collect the data about situations in which Black family, friends, and community members had been challenged by anti-Black police violence and brutality, and in turn use that data to create the conversation for this AI voice chatbot. And so it is a matter of creating a conversation, or what Watson called a dialogue, by programming the entities and intents. And so it's a bit more time consuming than the current mode of creating a generative chatbot that is, as I would call it, it appears to be a few points and clicks. students actually had to learn how to create the conversational dialogue from data they collected. And yes, Stefan, our young Black girls designing AI voice chatbots to address an issue that hopefully can inform not only their peers, but their family, friends, and community members, and hopefully others beyond their local setting. And so our goal is to move into, as I said, creating generative AI custom voice chatbots, and we've already started on a process for that. But this slide shows that prior to the Black Girls in AI Coding Makerspace, we had 2 cohorts of the My Brother's Keeper Coding Makerspace for AI for Black male students. And there's you see the flyer from the 5th cohort of the My Brother's Keeper Coding Makerspace, which was last summer. And then there's a link there if you'd like to see many photos from the 4th cohort of the My Brother's Keeper on AI. You can use that link there. Some of those students have gone on to Morehouse and other universities prepared to integrate AI in their studies because they're pursuing computer engineering, computer science, and quite a few of them had gone to the best schools in Austin, high-performing private schools, and had never had the opportunity while in school to learn how to design AI. But as I'm being told, they are leading the way there in their university programs because of their experience in this program. And so that's the My Brother's Keeper Coding Makerspace on AI. And the next slide, I think, will highlight where we're going. This semester, as I indicated, is to partner with the local HBCU in Austin, Houston-Tilliston University, and those students in the computer science undergraduate program. They're working to recruit at this time high school students from local Black churches to start on September 28th on the same goal of designing AI voice chatbots for social justice. And so as you can see, we have 7 Saturdays planned this fall, and the virtual meetings will be planned by the Houston-Tilliston students to support the high school students in understanding these topics like machine learning and natural language processing, the use of IBM Watson to design these AI voice chatbots. And I have challenged them with getting this first project of traditional AI voice chatbots finished by the end of October so that we can move on to using GPT from OpenAI to create a custom GPT generative AI voice chatbot. And they're excited about that because they will have a chance to select the topic for those generative AI chatbots. And many of them are interested in health and healthcare. And as we know, that is an area that we can certainly take advantage of these new innovations in AI, like generative AI. And so that's our goal now, is to start this project next Saturday. We have high school students signed up. We have the HBCU students ready to go. And now it's just a matter of us starting the meetings. And I didn't put in these slides, but I'll say, I think Stefan may have heard me mention this. As you can see, the very last item at the top of the slide is the HBCU AI and Innovation Conference. Houston-Tilliston is planning an HBCU AI conference for next April, and the goal will be to present these AI voice chatbots for social justice as part of a community showcase, just as we did last year in Black Girls AI, but through poster sessions, so that especially the university students can gain that experience of creating poster sessions and presenting them, especially to industry partners who are interested in preparing AI developers. And we hope, all we can do is hope that there are some, and if there are some, we will find them to come and hear from these students. And so one more slide is our free workshop slide. A few weeks or months ago, I think I was in a Clubhouse room and I shared with Stefan that I was going to create some free workshops around empowering Black students, success with AI tools to personalize learning. And as I've shared with many people in my 35 years of teaching, I have never witnessed something that could teach better than I can. Stefan, and I call it generative AI, especially physics topics, which are many times challenging. But I found that generative AI can really adjust and provide alternative ideas that can help students wrap their minds around some of the most complex topics in STEM. And that's one of the powers I see, in addition to the power of this new tool that came out called 4.0. I'm sure Stefan is familiar with that one from GPT, where it can see a math problem, it can hear your questions about it, and it can guide you through solving that problem. And with the right prompts, it will guide you and not give you the answers. And so one of the goals of this workshop is to help Black parents and families, especially from Black churches, learn how to use these AI tools to create personalized learning for their students. And there you can see some of the topics: generative AI 101, safety and using AI, and of course, prompt engineering. And with that, the last slide is Huston-Tillotson University, Black high school students developing AI voice chatbots for social justice. And I thank you all so much for listening. Stefan, keep on keeping on, because you motivate me not to retire, Stefan.
Great. Hey, listen, I think this might be, no, our education one did it today, but your focus on young people and showing us practically how to do it, and you finding the grant, I think there's different people who've talked about that, using it. This goes with what someone was talking about when it comes to leaving a legacy. You know,
Yes.
that's the whole definition. You're like a living legacy right now that you're helping these young girls and boys.
Well, that's what I hope, because if you knew the 35 years I've witnessed so many times, our kids could be provided opportunities, but in many cases, decisions are made not to provide them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been at the table at some of the highest levels in education and have personally witnessed a decision not to do what was right for our kids. And so that's what has inspired me to continue this work. And hopefully I can inspire all of you who are parents or family members of children to go back and encourage others to create your own programs like this and not wait for the school to do it, because in many cases the school does not have the capacity to do it.
Yeah, that's a good word. Don't wait. Hey, I got a question to ask you. Towards the end there, when you said you were going to have the young people continue to use Watson in that program, and then you were going to go to, have them use generative AI. I'm curious why you would proceed with that, and whether they might be missing new stuff with this while still doing that.
Right. Well, that's a good question. The biggest part of the reasoning is that we already have the curriculum in place for creating AI voice chatbots for social justice using IBM Watson.
Mm-hmm.
That would, as they would say, research-based through the NSF project, and is tested and worn.
Mm-hmm.
And so many have told me it's also about setting a foundation. And at some point in the future, somebody will look back and decide, well, what's foundational knowledge for our kids to know about AI? And because we have a more cutting edge, innovative, and maybe intriguing way to create AI voice chatbots, shouldn't our kids also learn that there's something called traditional AI and that there's some fundamentals around using a tool like Watson? Just like when we study science, we don't start with the most advanced topics in chemistry. We start with the fundamentals of understanding the parts of the atom.
Yeah.
And so one day there will be people who will look back and decide on approaches to curriculum development and AI education. And if we look at the other areas of STEM, they will hopefully say we need to establish some foundation, and that is to start with the beginning, and that was called traditional AI. And so the kids will have a chance because we do have a whole spring semester coming up, January, February, March, before our HBCU AI conference. They will have at least 3 months more. I'm not going to tell them that, to create their generative AI voice chatbots, because I would want them to focus on planning and working together as a team to collaborate to achieve that goal, so we can at least get started on the generative AI chatbot before the end of this fall semester. So thanks for thinking about the students, Stefan. I'm not going to leave them behind.
Oh, I know you're not. Yeah, because naturally I'm thinking, I know Watson, I know, and yet I know this world is going so fast with a different type of communication. And but I see what you're saying, because those of us who understand education, fundamentals of everything, yeah, we can't just think we're going to jump to everything. However, some of these kids might learn really soon how to just jump into GPT, hit a button, and I'm going to make a GPT, because it leads you through it. So maybe learning the fundamentals and being able to do that together are good.
Yes. And we'll certainly find out this year, because this is the first time trying to create both types of voice chatbots, traditional and generative, in one coding makerspace. So we'll learn, and then in the future, if there's more interest in generative AI, maybe we'll figure out a way to focus less on the traditional AI and move faster into creating the custom chatbots.
What you're doing is amazing. Somebody had a question down here about license. Is it being licensed?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm working also, in addition to this, with 5 teachers from across the U.S. And Stefan knows the Computer Science Teachers Association Black Affinity Group, and 50 students. And all of those students are also part of this project. And they are all participating without having to pay a license, because the National Science Foundation is supporting the project at this time. In the future, I can foresee when that funding will end, and there will be a need to create a licensing process for teachers to enroll students and for students to learn how to create these chatbots. And so at this time, there is no licensing process. If you are interested, in the spring, we will be looking for Black churches. And this was the part Stefan said last night he wanted to know more about. I shared a link. Black churches and HBCU students for AI literacy. If you could go to my website, Stefan, or you could get that link.
Yes, I will.
It's called Black Churches and HBCU Students for AI Literacy. There's a link to sign up. And because we have the cohort, as I said, 50 students nationally working on this, that cohort on the national level is full. But in the spring, we'll be looking for more sites. And if you are a Black church leader or a Black church parent or HBCU student and would like to recruit high school students to participate, that project provides a stipend of $2,500 for the Black church leader, or parent, or HBCU student, or Black computer science educators to support 10 Black high school students who are also receiving stipends to complete this, as incentives to complete this project, $300 each. And so the stipend amounts are a little different for those working across the U.S. But here in Austin, of course, we can roll out the red carpet and just do, more, including HBCU students. And I will add that for the HBCU AI conference, our goal is to invite HBCU students from across the country to also create a team with high school students to design AI voice chatbots and pay their travel support to come to that conference next April and present those poster sessions as well. And so that's the Black churches part, Stefan, that free workshops that high school students from predominantly Black churches and, as I indicated, Black church and leaders and parents. And in Austin, I'll say it's been more of a challenge than I expected to get Black churches on board. We're making progress by working through organizations like Baptist ministers organizations who are trying to encourage each other that AI can be for us and it can be by.
Mhm.
We can address these fears that we have while at the same time making sure that we access the benefits.
Yeah, I think a very short amount of time with some Black pastors, with them watching what it is, fear is going to go out the window of, oh, it's only bad. And they're
Right.
going to see the uses for good. So y'all that might have like a Bible app, I got, what is it called on my phone? The U version. It's AI all behind that thing, suggesting to me what, devotions to do today, people to get in contact with, scriptures I might like. AI is all woven into it and is the Bible. And that thing is going out all over the world, and people are using it. And it's the Bible and it's AI at the same time. So, God, this doesn't catch him by surprise. He's not saying, oh, shoot, dang, I know they were gonna do that. No, he's got this.
Yes. I'm on my phone, so I'm not able to see comments. I will say this. Someone told me the metaphor of the Pentecost. And I know, Stefan, if you were doing the Black metaverse, maybe that would be a great topic to integrate. The Pentecost as a metaphor for AI literacy. And so I'm giving you an idea, Stefan, of maybe someone suggested to me how we might encourage Black churches to consider AI adoption by thinking of the Pentecost. Now, I grew up in a Black Catholic church, so I would not proceed to lecture or give a sermon about the Pentecost, but maybe, Stefan, you can do that for us one day.
Yeah. Some great things have happened. I don't know if people know, but we ran First Meta Church. We started it in Altspace during Black History Month a couple of years ago. And we had people from all over the world that would join us in a worship time. News got to NBC. I got a call from an NBC producer in New York, and she said, "Are you all the one that's doing the church in the metaverse?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, can we come and check it out?" And this is NBC Today Show. And I said, "Yeah, y'all welcome." And then she did a little interview over the phone. And next thing I know, that little idea of bringing people to, just like y'all here, but this was a worship setting. And, we would have TG Jakes preaching and all these different groups leading worship. And I had somebody build us a church in the metaverse. And it ended up getting national attention because, 2 weeks later, Today's Show, it was Craig Melvin saying, and they even have churches in the metaverse. And there's our church, like, man, how did it go from where we are to that? Let me see if I got something really quick. I'm gonna try to see if it will pull up, but somebody else might have another anything else to share. But Philip, thank you
Well,
so much.
you're
Jerry.
welcome. I just saw someone say I'm in Dallas. If you want to contact me, some of the supporters I have in Austin, they're interested in seeing how we can advance this project to Dallas and Houston. And so I'm looking for people in both of those cities so that we can spread the word of AI for the people.
Let me try something. Let's see if this works.
The metaverse, the next frontier of the internet. From virtual weddings to church service.
Focus your mind.
Me right there. So you never know what God can do. And we had to close it down because Altspace, Microsoft shut them down. So, but God did some amazing things.
He certainly did. Thank you, Stefan. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Patty?
Okay, I don't have anything else for
Okay.
the evening.
All right.
I'd like to thank them for coming. Those were great presentations, especially we always need to hear about leadership. And it's so good to hear Philip working with those girls down there. I've done a little bit of work with some girls here, and that's difficult work, Philip.
Yeah,
So
even more difficult.
Yeah. So,
Oh, you didn't say, yeah, you're old, huh?
no, what did you just say? I missed half of it.
Yeah, for a person my age, it is really difficult.
I'm probably older than you. But yes, it's difficult work because you're dealing with that whole other generation. And so you have to really stay focused on what the goal is and ignore all the craziness. And then in the end, it's wonderful because I thought during the time I was working with them that they weren't paying attention. But then when we had the finale and everybody presented their business, they were in tears and it was like, oh, we were so together, but it didn't appear that way as we went along, but they were really getting it, but it's just the way that they relate to you.
Yes. I'll say one more thing. If you click the link to the Black Girls in AI webpage, you'll see many of their parents were in the room. So the parents came and actively participated and made presentations as well about mentoring the girls. And so that was of great help.
Yes, mentoring is very important. Well, thank you so much, Stefan. I don't have anything else. So you want to close us out?
I will. I'll say this, that this is typically the end of the event, but people always want to just hang out. We can talk about whatever. So we added a recap. I don't know what we'll do. You watch. People will show up just to talk. Patty, I want you to know something. You talk about young people. Well, Willonius, his name is William Hatcher. He's blown up. Y'all heard, BBL Drizzy. He started to combine songs that his entertainment, his life as a comedian, who he is as a young person, Suno and Udio. And he's got this mesh of new music that's fresh and has got the ears of everybody. I see him there with Will Smith, and he's out there doing stuff with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And listen, this guy is in Time Magazine for one of the top 100 AI innovators in the world. He started here on Clubhouse. We're sitting there, 3 years, and man, he's gone. Where'd he go? And then he comes back, shares a little bit and more, and then he blows up with that, and he's gone crazy. He's everywhere now. He came and taught one lesson in our Black AI Literacy Week. It was so good that people said, man, Stefan, we got an extra hour. Can we bring Willonius back in? He came. And in that one, Patty asked the most amazing question. She said, well, I just want to know about your parents. I want to know. That's a supreme compliment when somebody says, who raised you? Because they did something right. It was classic. And the cool thing is, he just got that award last week. He was at the dinner. This is Time Magazine doing it. And I saw pictures of him on Sunday night. And he's going to be here tonight. So I've been getting messages from his people now. I used to be able to get him. So he should be stopping in sometime between our last series, our last hour. That's it. And we're also going to be announcing who won the 7 awards that we're doing, Black AI Think Tank Awards, for people, those Black folks who are doing stuff for our community. We wanted to acknowledge them. So that'll start at, what time are we at right now? At 9. So you got some time off. I hear Oprah might be on right now, and Kamala Harris. So that's it. Do your thing, and we'll be around here later this evening. Thank you all so much. And this room will close in 5, 4, 3, 2, and you know what? I should probably turn the recording off first.